Hello, this is a follow-up video of how I got taken by attorney Nigel Burns out of downtown Los Angeles. So a few years back, I had a neighbor who really had it out for me. He was like a newly retired African American guy, and he didn't seem like he had any joy in his life. Like he had, no friends and really no life. And so he decided to harass me, his neighbor. Well, I didn't do anything with him. We had a disagreement about a beach ball that my son was playing with. So he was so obsessed with ruining my life, he decided to sue me in civil court. And so he didn't have any case against me, so he made up a bunch of things. So he posted a lot of really derogatory things, like a long blog, and he made it look like I did it, and it was all racial stuff, and it was kind of like if you look up the Jussie Smollett case. He's an African American actor who like made up a bunch of stuff so he could get publicity. Well, my neighbor did that to me, kind of thing. Like he set me up to make me look like a racist, and he also sent himself like a bunch of texts from another phone, and to make it look like I did it, and they were like real racial, nasty things. So, N-word and all that stuff. So he sues me. He hires this shyster lawyer. His name is Nicholas Tepper, and his license has been suspended. He's not practicing any longer. But so he hires his lawyer, and they sued me also for invasion of privacy because I had cameras installed around my house to protect myself, because he would always lie to the police about me. So he also sued me for what they call intentional infliction of emotional pain. And his lawyer was like super aggressive. He's like, "Oh, we're gonna own your house. Your life's over," kind of thing. So I had to get a lawyer, and I hired Nigel Burns. I just looked him up on the internet. I had good reviews. Seemed like a cool guy. So Nigel was like, "Okay, I'll take your case. Send me a $6,000 retainer." It's a lot of money, but I sent it. He says, "Okay, the first thing I need to do is come over to your house and check out the cameras." Okay, come on over. You're the lawyer. So I had what's called an answer to complaint done by a local attorney in Long Beach, and I handed him the answer to complaint. And I said to Nigel, file this, please. And so we talked a little bit, and then, he took my paperwork and went back to his office. And then I got the bill for that day. It was over $2,000. So he had charged me, drive time from Los Angeles to Long Beach. So that was like 2 hours. So that's $700 because he's $350 an hour. And then he charged me, he redid the answer to complaint. That was 4 hours times $250 because he had his assistant do that. That's like another $1,000. Wow, that's a lot of money, So I emailed him. I was like, "Why'd you redo the answer to complaint? I gave you the other one. It looks identical." And he didn't really address that issue. He just avoided it. So, being busy with life, I have kids, I just kind of ignored it. Couple weeks go by, Nigel Burns calls me. He's like, "We should do a countersuit on this." I was like, "Okay, if you think, you're the lawyer, let's do it." And stupidly, I didn't ask him, how much would this cost? I thought it'd be a couple hours of work. He totally inflated that. It was thousands. So I'm already out like $5,000. Well, maybe I'll win some money. Who knows? Of course, there's no like what they call damages. So anyway, a couple weeks go by, calls me up again. Hey, we should depose your neighbor. A deposition is like an interview you do with a court reporter, and you ask a lot of questions. It's very expensive. A written discovery, what they call written, is way cheaper, but he doesn't recommend that. Oh, we're gonna depose him, you know. Depositions are like for really important cases. I found out later, like, you know, we're talking big money stuff. So anyway, we depose him, and I paid for it. I paid for the court reporter. He even like rescheduled it on purpose, and he would charge me like $120 each time to reschedule it. Even though it didn't need to be rescheduled. I think it was just, he was doing it to get the money. So then I'm on the hook for all that. I'm up to like $8,000 already, and the deposition was absolutely ridiculous. It was like two guys hanging out at the bar talking about cameras, and it's just so like petty. So anyway, I'm out like $8,000, and then he calls me again. No, this time he actually emailed me. He's like, hey, we're gonna have to do what's called a summary judgment on this, okay? Which is like a way of ending it based on the facts that we found in the deposition. And he adds in there, they're very difficult, they're very expensive, but this is your main best option to avoid trial. Oh shit, now I'm like, more money. Like, this guy posted some things on the internet, says I did it, there's no IP pointing to me. He texted himself a bunch of stuff that doesn't go to my phone call. Why can't we just go to court and just say the truth? It would take 10 minutes. Oh, no. You don't want to do that. You don't want to have a trial. It's exactly what you want, because it turns out they didn't even show up, okay? Anyway, I'm pretty pissed off, and I'm like, okay, I gotta find another lawyer because this is outrageous. So then I go on this website called Thumbtack, and I posted my case. I was like, maybe I can have some lawyers compete for it or something. And I did. I got a really good lawyer, and he was fresh out of law school, and he looked at the case. He's like, this is so freaking stupid. He said, you're not going to get any money in the countersuit. He's not going to get any money. You guys are just wasting your money. I'm like, yeah, but I'm already out. I think I was up to like 10,000 by the time, or even more, for all that Nigel crap. So then I was like, well, let's just pursue the countersuit, you know, because he was so cheap, and he was like, he wanted court trial practice. I was like, let's do it. You know, it's like going to I don't know, a playoff game or something. You're gonna pay a lot of money to go to the World Series. This will be my treat to myself, to really watch my neighbor try to explain himself. So for 2 days we had him on the stand, and it was extremely entertaining. At one point it got bad. Like, he had to go to the hospital because he had like heart problems, and so I didn't feel bad though. He deserved it. So then at the end of the day, the judge was like, well, there really isn't any monetary damages, but he wrote up this whole thing about how, you know, it was all his evidence that he had done all this online and all these texts. So I used that to go after him with what they call malicious prosecution. Okay, ended up at the end of all kinds of stuff, he ended up paying $32,000 in legal fees. I got just a bit of that. The lawyers got most of it, which was okay. But he actually did pay because they put a lien against his property. Plus, he paid his lawyer thousands to like fight all that stuff. So he was out 50, maybe more, 50,000 for nonsense. But then I was still pissed at Nigel. So I took Nigel to fee arbitration, because you have the right to do that 2 years after you fire him. You can still take him. So I took him, and he sent his little, he has like these young guys out of law school he hires. He sent one of them, and he was super nervous. And he actually sent two of them. And so I said, I told the arbitrator I did give Nigel the original answer to complaint, and I don't have any proof. I just handed it to him, and I do have the bill for it. It was only 1 hour. He charged me 4 hours. And then their associate, he's like, oh, it's right here. He pulled it out of the file. He's like, yeah, here it is. And I was like, wow, an honest attorney, Obviously, Nigel didn't prep him, because a thief and a liar like Nigel, eventually he's going to get caught. You can't always keep up with all your lies and keep everybody informed. So I got all that money back. And then I also got a bunch of other money back from extra charges. He charged me for the drive time. I got that money back. And the arbitrator's like, you really got screwed, but you let this be a lesson to you. You gotta really own your case. You gotta, you can't trust him, and I should be able to trust him because he's been licensed by the board, and he should have from the start said, hey, this is a stupid case. This is like being sued for saying the earth is flat. You can never prove it's flat, or if we're saying that, it's just so ridiculous. It doesn't make sense. You cannot prove that I did anything, so why bother? Just show up to court, see if they even show up. They didn't show up, but tell the judge, you don't have to do all this paperwork, discovery, because it's a waste of money. But see, Nigel doesn't, he knows that, but he'll never tell you because he's making the money. He's just keeping you in the dark. But that's what a really unethical lawyer does. That's why I would never trust him. And that's my story.